What is going on, everybody? This is King Kong 1900 and welcome to this brand new series called What If. We essentially go through the many eras of Godzilla and King Kong, maybe the occasional Walking Dead or Spider-Man topic if I'm feeling it, and we discuss how certain scenarios would play out if something did not happen in a timeline. I hope you all enjoy this new series, and let's just dive right in. Major credit goes to Voyager Goji on Toho Kingdom for this scenario because it just seemed genius. You can go to the thread yourselves and see how they view the scenario, as well as other fans' opinions on the events. A link will be in the description below. And now we'll begin my take. So let's say King Ghidorah does the absolute worst and manages to successfully kill Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra. What would happen now? King Ghidorah's main goal in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster is to destroy the Earth for his own malicious intent, just like he does with the Venus civilization. So before we go on, let's just talk about how he even destroys civilizations to begin with. I want to try and make it clear that Ghidorah simply cannot destroy a planet, as in blow it up. We know this because we see him fire his gravity beams at the ground, and this alone means it should blow up the planet, in theory. But it doesn't. Why? Because he can't. Ghidorah has no other way of really blowing up a planet besides using his gravity beams. So that's a common misconception in the franchise I just want to clear up. King Ghidorah cannot blow up planets. What he can do, however, is destroy civilizations and basically render areas uninhabitable. It was stated that he does this for his own malicious intent. Yikes. So right now, Ghidorah's main mission is to render Earth uninhabitable. While I think King Ghidorah flat out killing Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra is brutal and completely dark, which does appease a certain hunger that the franchise lacks overall, it does seem pretty uncomfortably dark. If you want to say they were just beat into very deep comas, that's fine. But for now, we're going with the dark route. While Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra proved to be powerful enough to stop King Ghidorah the first time, that really doesn't happen in this hypothetical universe. It's the same Ghidorah in same conditions. He isn't the more powerful one from Destroy All Monsters or the weaker one from Godzilla vs. Gigan. This is straight up King Ghidorah in his first appearance, not controlled by aliens and acting on his own accord. What I think would happen is that King Ghidorah would carry out on his evil ways. He's at Mount Fuji where he just killed the 3 Earth Defenders, and now he would make his way across Japan, destroying it to render it completely uninhabitable. I think that Ghidorah would fly over Okinawa and fire his beams across the island. Little does he know that this would wake up King Caesar. Now, does King Caesar have what it takes to destroy King Ghidorah? Not by himself. King Ghidorah has just destroyed Japan, Okinawa, China, all the way down to Australia. Now the direction King Ghidorah can head is to try and curve up to Mexico and then work his way to America, which is filled with people. But one specific island that is on his way is Faroe Island, which is in the South Pacific. I think that because King Ghidorah is doing a sort of drive-by, or flyby, that he isn't really stopping at each place. So this means that he is going to avoid conflict with any other kaiju since his mission isn't to fight other kaiju. But much like with the 3 he just defeated, they will come for him. So we're at Faroe Island, and before anybody can react to the oncoming dragon, gravity beams come flying out of his mouth and Faroe Island starts to become destroyed. Natives of the island start dying, and just like that, Ghidorah is gone. But one inhabitant of the island still stands, fuming with rage, and that is no other than King Kong. He had fought Godzilla 2 years previously and was shown to be equal to Godzilla, up until he knocked himself out. Yet, with his lightning powers, he is a force to be reckoned with. But it won't be enough to battle Ghidorah, yet he must try. King Kong makes his way to Ghidorah, swimming across the ocean. King Ghidorah is leaving the South Pacific to go to Mexico, but somewhere in the Pacific Ocean lies another island that seems to be calling to Ghidorah, calling for its own destruction. This energy is something Ghidorah can sense, that there are bigger inhabitants than the measly human ones he's been destroying so far. This island is Monster Island. While we don't find out until Godzilla vs. Gigan, we do know that there is a second Anguirus who was Godzilla's best friend and ally that resides there. Other kaiju that live there are Gorosaurus, Kumonga, and the Kamacuras species. Minya lives there as well, but since this is during 1964's Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster period, he wasn't exactly born yet. Mothra, interestingly enough, has her larva there as well. Now, originally, after Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Mothra's larvae go back to Infant Island, which is located in Indonesia, a place Ghidorah has destroyed. But because her larvae had died in the battle, it's safe to rule them out of being on Infant Island or Monster Island. Ghidorah resumes his flyby, but his attention is caught by other kaiju. King Ghidorah did quick flybys when awakening King Caesar and King Kong, who do tend to stay relatively well hidden, but on Monster Island, a much smaller and more open island, it's way easier to see these other kaiju, and King Ghidorah decides to eliminate any threats. It isn't his main mission, but as the other monsters proved, it can interfere with his main mission, so that's why King Ghidorah will go out of his way to destroy these monsters. Are Anguirus, Gorosaurus, Kumonga, and Kamacuras enough to stop King Ghidorah? I'm not entirely sure. I'll tell you guys right now that Kamacuras is going to get killed before anything happens. Ghidorah's gravity beams would prove way too much for them. But we're left with the 3 kaiju who may or may not have what it takes. And now the battle commences. King Ghidorah is still pretty powerful in his first appearance. Like I said, not Destroy All Monsters level yet, but he's still getting there. Anguirus definitely showed he has the heart to go up against a more powerful King Ghidorah, before eventually being overwhelmed, taken into the air, and dropped, where he had to scurry away to avoid further damage. Now, that alone is very impressive considering he could take a fall like that. Anguirus was shown in Godzilla vs. Gigan, however, to be unable to defeat King Ghidorah alone. Even after Ghidorah had gotten his mind control severed, while he just watches Gigan and Goji fight as Anguirus creeps up on him, he still was able to prove too much for Anguirus. In fact, the same exact footage from Destroy All Monsters is shown, just darkened. Alright. Anguirus cannot take Ghidorah on alone. It's an incredibly tough and pretty one-sided fight. Anguirus has backup though, Gorosaurus. We don't get a lot of footage of Gorosaurus versus King Ghidorah, which is an awesome pair by the way, but from what we do see, we can tell that Gorosaurus is able to fight Ghidorah a lot better than Anguirus. No offense, buddy. So we see the fight start out with Ghidorah appearing and hovering around the Earth Defenders, analyzing all of them. Ghidorah moves in and attacks, and we see immediately the first kaiju to attack is Anguirus, with that heart of gold. Unfortunately, he gets flung away, and Gorosaurus comes right behind him, possibly exclaiming that his ally got hurt. But before he can do anything, Gorosaurus is also met with gravity beams and immediately drops from them temporarily. So at this point in the original Destroy All Monsters film, Godzilla attacks, and then everybody sort of watches him, like it's really weird. But then we see Gorosaurus and Anguirus are back up, and that Kumonga had moved in from behind with his webbing attack. Now instead of Godzilla attacking Ghidorah, once Goro and Anguirus go down, we can assume Kumonga would take the next step and defend his territory and allies. But without the other distractions, such as Godzilla holding Ghidorah back, Rodan using his wind attack, and Mothra her silk attack, I seriously doubt Kumonga's web attack would be enough to hold Ghidorah down. And we see that Ghidorah fires his powerful gravity beams everywhere, sending Rodan and Mothra flying to get out of harm's way. Because those two aren't here, it would most likely be Anguirus and Gorosaurus who are hit. Anguirus could probably still get in close to attack after this, but he would seriously risk him getting carried into the air and dropped, forcing him to retreat for a short time just to take a breather. So as it stands, these 3 kaiju are not enough to take on this Ghidorah, who still has relatively powerful beams compared to how they were in Destroy All Monsters. And now in comes King Kong, who arrives before King Caesar does, considering his island is closer to Monster Island. King Kong is shown to be immune to the atomic breath and resistant to it. He is also able to give Godzilla a good fight and keeps him at bay, until he knocks himself out. After he knocks himself out the first time, he gets back up pretty quickly before getting kicked down to Mount Fuji and knocked out again. But we can see that he still has a very short rest period from being knocked out. And while I would assume he wouldn't do something stupid like knock himself out again, Showa Kong is pretty stupid at times. He's shown to take the initiative and is not afraid to get up close and personal, so I think that he would do what Godzilla does and seize Ghidorah by the back. If he were to charge head on, he would get flung right off, which is what happens to Godzilla in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. At this point, if King Kong did seize Ghidorah by the back, this leaves a room open for Gorosaurus and Anguirus to attack the front. Maybe one of them is successful, but Ghidorah's gravity beam still may prove too much. In comes King Caesar. Arriving moments after King Kong does, he jumps into battle to defeat the creature who destroyed a lot of the planet, including his people who did not awaken him, but the devil himself. So King Caesar is furious. While King Kong is shown to be a physical powerhouse who can take beam weapons, quick side note, the gravity beams would definitely do more damage, but as of right now, he's holding Ghidorah back, so he can't get hit. King Caesar is also a physical tank that can withstand a heavy barrage of beams and missiles. Better yet, as we all know, he can freaking deflect them. And he's extremely strong too. Like, it took him a few slams to destroy Mechagodzilla's chest plate. He can dodge physical attacks very quickly, and he knows damn martial arts. Able to basically hip throw Mechagodzilla, King Caesar is an incredibly adept fighter. Him and Kong would be an excellent team. And honestly, that's what I see going down. King Kong holding King Ghidorah back as King Caesar comes in, ramming Ghidorah's chest. He can dodge a gravity beam attack, and King Kong can jump onto Ghidorah's back and start constraining some of the heads. Kumonga can help web up the two tails. King Caesar can constrain one head and bite it while shutting the mouth, and before Ghidorah knows it, he flies to the ground in some immense pain. Why? Because he just took a crippling kangaroo kick from Gorosaurus, yours truly. As King Kong and King Caesar get to work, stomping on a few heads while Gorosaurus stomps the body, Ghidorah clears what's ahead of him with some gravity beams and fires at King Kong and King Caesar. Ghidorah would try to fly away just like he does in Destroy All Monsters, but King Kong rushes over and catches Ghidorah's leg, trying to bring him back down much like Godzilla did. I can totally picture King Caesar running up behind Kong, jumping on him, and then jumping off to catch King Ghidorah, much more personally holding on to the base of the necks. King Ghidorah could then wrap his necks around King Caesar to constrict him, and as they get higher and higher, they suddenly begin dropping lower and lower. Now this happens because Anguirus is biting onto Ghidorah's foot as King Kong holds onto the other one, pulling him down to the ground. From then on, Ghidorah's fate is sealed. He's webbed to the ground, he gets brutally stomped on by King Kong, his back clawed open by a bloodlusted, ravaging King Caesar. Gorosaurus bites into the wings and tears chunks off. Anguirus jumps into the air and rolls, landing his sharp carapace back onto King Ghidorah's other wing and shoulder. And with one head alive, King Kong performs his finisher and tears the jaw open all the way down to the base of the neck. Anguirus sniffs at the foaming creature to ensure it's dead. And thankfully he is. All the monsters roar in victory and go their separate ways. The Earth has been saved, but at the cost of Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra's deaths. And that was my take on what would happen if Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan had not stopped King Ghidorah. There are other kaiju who are Godzilla's allies that would defend Earth when it needed. I guess you can say Minya is still in his egg and will hatch, eventually becoming the next Godzilla. And that maybe Infant Island has another cocoon in which Mothra's larvae are currently growing in. And hell, who knows, maybe Rodan very well may have another egg in Mount Aso before he fought Ghidorah. Either that, or he may have a brother or sister, who knows. I'd like to address King Kong for a second, shockingly. If he manages to not knock himself out, he would most likely be able to still stay on Ghidorah's back. But if he gets lightning charged, then it's a whole other ballgame for Ghidorah. Anguirus happens to show a lot of heart, which is why we all love him, and he's able to recover relatively quickly and can take punishment. King Caesar is an absolute powerhouse who can deflect some of the beams and do major work on Ghidorah's body. Gorosaurus' kangaroo kick can prove crippling to Ghidorah, and Kumonga's webbing would help with keeping him constrained. These kaiju should all, in turn, be able to defeat King Ghidorah. And to address something you guys may consider an inconsistency, I guess, or why this specific thing didn't happen, let's talk about Monsterland. So while Monsterland still exists, the kaiju aren't captured and brought there until 1999 in Destroy All Monsters, so that's why Baragon isn't present. He goes to Monster Island, not Monsterland. So that's it, everybody. Earth lives to fight another day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think of this series, as well as what kind of ideas or what if scenarios you would like to see. I'm always open to new ideas. Again, huge shout out to Voyager Goji on Toho Kingdom for coming up with such a fantastic idea. They have a very interesting take on the subject, so just be sure to hit the link in the description below and enjoy what they have to say, as well as what other fans have to say about it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. This is King Kong 100, signing out. Bye-bye.